Hi guys. Just checking in because this week has been a difficult one. Physically, emotionally, trying to keep my stress levels down. And I didn't realize that stress is a trigger for symptoms. The wind has been very strong this week. I can feel it, and even the flat has been cold. As you can see, I'm always wrapped up in something, and I have layers on. I find it's better for me to wear layers as a symptomatic sickle cell trait individual because layers means I can strip one layer off and put one layer back on if I find I'm cold. I didn't realize that regulating my temperature was so important, but this year I've realized just how important. Um, just a lot of things really I've been thinking about is the isolation you feel when you suffer something that is unexplainable to the masses. Um, Connecting with so many amazing people on Facebook through my support group, sickle cell trait info and support group. That is what it's entitled. It is a private group only because I know that some might find it really embarrassing to share their experiences in there. So I wanted to kind of screen who enters the group for obvious reasons. I struggle sharing anything about myself personally, so I understand from everybody else's perspective how they might feel too. But at the same time, I feel that, knowledge is power. The more we know, the more we can teach one and learn from and fight this together because I'm struggling. This whole week I struggled with my pelvic pains. I know I need to exercise more, but because exercise was the trigger that set off the crisis and started me overheating, which has never happened before with exercise, started me overheating on the 15th of June in the evening. On a warm day, I just couldn't breathe during the workout. I struggled and I kept gasping for air and having to stop. And then I overheated. My mom actually thought it was down to menopause, maybe early onset, which I didn't really appreciate the thinking that way. It was scary. But then when she said that, and then my arm swelled, and I'd had a bath, so I was cooled down. I was, ready for bed by that time, about 9 p.m. And then my right arm swelled, and then the pain and the fevers set in, and then the shooting pain began everywhere in my limbs, um, my long bones, my upper back, my ribs, my chest. So it's been a journey of self-discovery really, and I'm grateful for it because without knowing a bit more about myself this year, I wouldn't be in a position to help other people or to spread knowledge about this silent condition that nobody wants to talk about or that nobody dares talk about because there's not enough knowledge out there about being a symptomatic carrier of sickle cell. Um, I I've got a few books that I want to recommend, but I think I'll recommend them in the next video or so. I just wanted to check in with everyone and say hi and let you know my progress seems to be extremely slow and I don't know why that is. I'm still awaiting neurology tests for the pounding headaches that I've been having to the point of nausea, almost vomiting, but to the point of nausea, but they're affecting my vision when they come. They make my heart palpitate like crazy. And at the moment, I've been quite stressed anyway because my mom isn't very well. And, it's been a stress on my shoulders, just wondering and worrying about her health and her and how to take care of her and also take care of myself, so I don't cause my symptoms to worsen or to go into crisis again. Yeah, there's so much to say, really. So much that's going through my mind. It's been a very emotionally turbulent time. Um, just learning so much about my body, about triggers of sickle cell crises, about things that I didn't know. My neck keeps on playing up a lot. Yesterday, in my bedroom, going to sleep, I had shooting pains in the back of my head, but towards the left side, and in my jaw. It kind of penetrated all the way from the back of my head all the way into my jaw. Um, so it really wasn't cool. It's strange. It sometimes feels like the pain's going from the back of my head into my ears as well, but it's not my ears. It's something that I can't really describe. If you don't understand, you don't understand. And it's a constant thing. It's draining, it's exhausting, balancing work in life. I mean, to those who know me, I am a typical African woman where my family is everything to me. You know, I'll cook, I'll clean, I'll do my house chores. I'm always busy. I never really sit down. So this year, having so much time where I've had to just sit and watch my house feel like it's a mess because I can't do what I would normally do. I was decorating prior to going into crisis. In in when was it? March, April, and May. Well, March, no, I couldn't because I was experiencing these migraines constantly. Um, and I was so not good. So I was off work again 3 weeks. So this year, my sick record has been appalling. I've been off work for 4 months almost, and it has not been a pleasant time. But you know, it's worth it to learn and to share with other people. Um, you know, not be silent anymore. And I'm not embarrassed or ashamed of it because this is me. This is, you know, my genetic makeup. Um, at times I did question why was I born, and things that will go through my head is I don't want to be here because the fear of going through a crisis, it's mental torture and torment, but it's constant because the pain is shooting pain and it feels cold at the same time, like somebody's stabbing you 1,000 times in the same place and then in other places, and just suddenly either gasping or screaming out loud while you're sat. You could just be sat or laid down. I mean, in my case, I couldn't sit for full 3 months until the final week just before I went back to work. I started sitting up on a cushion that is kind of like shaped like a donut, and the reason for it is to relieve pressure on the pelvis. My mom bought that for me when I was really bad, and I would just double over or grab my groin because the pain that was coming through my pelvic bone, my pubic bone to be exact, um, was agony. And yesterday, actually, I started trying to do a walking workout. It's sort of like walking on the spot, but it's moving side to side as well. And it was walking, made me sweat even for the 5 minutes I did. And then I suddenly screamed out loud because my pubic bone started having such severe stabbing pain. So I had to stop. That's puzzling because I've never had pain to this extent where it continues for so long. Um, Normally, the crises that I've experienced or the pain I've experienced in the past, in my, you know, from my early childhood years all the way into my adult years, 21, I had minor pains, and then I've had pains. The last huge major crisis that really was debilitating and kept me out of work was back in um, 2000 and was it 2003, 2002, 2003 time. Um, and I traveled, so that was the circumstance that caused, the lack of sleep. It was fatigue, it was flying. I'd gone to Hawaii for my cousin's wedding. So flying out there, I didn't sleep. The whole journey to London from Leeds, I didn't sleep. And then going into the plane as well, I was anxious, nervous, but I was excited. And I didn't sleep when I arrived in Hawaii because the time difference. So it was like a whole 2 days. I had not slept by the time I arrived. And then when I came back home, I was just so exhausted. So yeah, it's times where I'm really fatigued that I've started noticing and thinking about. It's the pattern of being really fatigued and um just really exhausted and stressed. Um, Emotions seem to trigger symptoms as well. Dehydration as well is another trigger, another huge trigger. So all these things were things that impacted on me. Um, as you can see, I don't sit up at the moment. When I'm at home, I'm just laying down on my side because working to sit and work through 5 hours of every day at the moment, that's what I'm doing on a phased return. To sit and work 5 hours daily is agonizing. Um, so when I'm at home, I'm either laid down or stretched out on my side because that's less painful to the pubic bone. I normally have a holder for my phone so that I don't have to hold it in my arms because they're hurting quite a bit at the elbows at the moment. So I'm just managing that pain as best as I can and just trying to stay laughing and smiling because I think, having a focus other than pain is always a good thing. So having family around or, to talk to, my battery is going quite low because I was on the phone to my family for quite a while this evening, just chatting and laughing and just thinking about other things and things that we enjoy doing together is a positive, a huge positive in my life. That makes me happy. And just knowing that I have a good support network. And I think that's important when you're a trait individual who's symptomatic or when you have sickle cell full blown. Having a good support network is so vital to everything. I think to overcoming anything, you can overcome anything you go through by having a decent support network, a really good and strong support network around you. Um, so yeah, that's been my week really. Um, I kind of wanted to also mention a bit about things that can help. Circumstances. I think the next video I'll mention about circumstances that I've been advised to beware of if you're a symptomatic carrier, certain things that can trigger off sickle cell crises. I don't know if you guys are aware, but I'll mention that in the next video. I think I'm gonna go to sleep now because I'm feeling tired. I look tired and yeah, I'm gonna consult with a naturopath this weekend for my mom's and for my own health. And I think yes, going natural all the way is the best option for internal healing and overall well-being. That's always sort of been my stance, and I try and avoid pharmaceutical meds if I can because of the side effects and the negatives that they can cause to the body. So yeah, I believe in natural herbs and healing. At the end of the day, I will take pain relief if I need to, whether it's pharmaceutical or not, because I can't cope with certain pain, and this pain has been excruciating and life changing to an extent. I won't let it affect me in a negative way, but it has had an impact on me, both physically and mentally. And I think it's good for people to know that, yes, I believe in natural herbs, but I will also take pain relief if I need to, and I'm desperate for it. I do try and ride it out as much as I can, but when it's bad, especially when coping with work, I've never experienced anything like this to this extent. and continuously at the moment. So yeah, here's hoping neurology and hematology get my referral through and process it ASAP, because I'm tired of waiting. It's hard waiting and not knowing what's happening. But because of this pandemic, it's just a waiting game. Okay, guys. God bless you. I pray you have a good evening and a blessed weekend. And these are just my thoughts this evening.